Hello and welcome to the Chicago Tribune's Bear Download. I'm Rich Campbell. This is Dan Wiederer. We are here at Hallis Hall on the first day of the Bears' mandatory 3-day minicamp, and the big attraction today was we finally heard from Bears quarterback Jay Cutler for the first time since he signed his contract extension on January 2nd. Dan, what were some of the big takeaways for you from Jay's media session?
It's interesting because it's been more than 5 months since we've seen Jay in the press conference setting, and he was comfortable up there, and he's comfortable here in general. And I think that's an important thing for Bears fans to understand, that here he goes into this second year in an offense. He's got all 10 starters around him coming back. He's got a system in place. He's got an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's coach and a head coach that he firmly believes in. And there's a genuine excitement for the progress that can be made with that. Both he and Aaron Kromer talked today about problem solving within this offense, and that this offense is designed to have sort of those safety valves. And when you understand this offense in its totality, you know how to read blitzes, you know how to read defenses, you know how to pick up coverages, and to know where the options are. It's not just read one. And the more you get into this offense, the more you can solve problems when they arise. And so I think there's a genuine feeling like that step of the process is moving forward for both the offense and for Jay Cutler. And it's just really interesting to see, obviously, a guy they put so much investment in feeling this good about where they can go going forward.
Right, and then by extension, you always are going to have this part of Jay's narrative that's about his demeanor and his attitude. And I think by extension, being comfortable on the field, being comfortable with his football surroundings, in addition to growing as a person. Remember, he had his second kid this offseason. He's married. You know, he's really found some stability.
He's 31
in his life. Right, he's an older guy now, and I think you start to see him come into his own, at least in the way he carries himself. We'll have to see if this translates to the field this season. But in terms of leadership, I know that's a big element of his narrative going forward here. It all seems to come together in a very healthy way for him and this organization.
I think one thing that we don't do a great job of as sports fans and in the sports media is allow people to evolve. And you know, they're sort of cast in a role early in their careers, and that's who we define them as. And we are seeing with Cutler, maybe he is changing a little bit. Maybe he is growing up. Maybe he is becoming more of a leader. He mentioned today this locker room is vastly different than it was when he came in 2009. And so that puts the onus on him as a guy who's been around for a long time to sort of show the way for some younger guys, to have more of a voice, to have more of a presence. He seems willing to do that. And then you just get the sense that both he and Mark Trestman, since day one, they've had this sort of connection on a football level. They can talk. They can talk the football language, as Mark Trestman called it today, on a high level, and they can sort of interact and sort of always be moving forward because they understand what each other's saying. And there's an environment here. I think Jay said in the overall concept, from the team concept, that when you enjoy coming to work and you enjoy the guys you're around, all of a sudden everything becomes more positive, and he certainly feels that way.
Right, and had a chance to ask Jay about his durability, which is such a huge issue, not only considering the Bears' backup quarterback situation, but the fact that he hasn't played a full season since 2009. And Jay said there really isn't, in his assessment, a lot he can do to improve his durability. He said that his 2 injuries last season, the groin and the ankle, were freak. That was the word he said, freak injuries. And overall, generally he has more trust in the offensive line in front of him, the offense that's in place, his ability to make quick decisions with the ball, get rid of the ball. That's all going to help him. But Mark Trestman has talked about this issue of durability a few times now. You know, it's going to be a factor going forward here. It's going to help define whether the Bears are going to be able to get what they have invested in Jay in terms of this contract.
That's the key word, the investment. And they've put in this investment. You only do that if you believe a guy can stay healthy for you and stay available.
Right.
So 16-game season is the #1 goal, I think, for Jay Cutler this year. Obviously, he needs to make progress in other areas, but to have him starting those games and finishing those games is a big deal. He not only missed full games last year, but couldn't finish a couple, obviously the Redskins and the Lions games, which were close losses that he wasn't there to see through to the end. And so it's a big deal. How much he can do, I don't know, but I think there is that extra concept there of feeling comfortable. And he said in his early years in Chicago, it was a hit parade. Those are his words, that he took a lot of hits, and because of that became less comfortable as a quarterback, you know, taking his eyes off the secondary, not going through the progressions that you'd want him to because he's so worried about where the pressure is going to be coming from and doesn't have that reliability up front. That seems to have changed here, and we'll see if they can have it going forward. Important note, Jordan Mills and Matt Slauson both set out practice today, so this offensive line that started all 16 games together a year ago isn't necessarily fully intact. Now everyone expects them to be for camp, but that's another factor in this whole discussion.
Right, and Jay disagreed with Mark Trestman's observation that he's bigger. He has worked this offseason trying to strengthen his left side to try to get over some of the injuries that he had last season.
They were both on the left side, obviously.
Right, and so And as you move forward there, Jay says, I'm not necessarily bigger, but again, it's the comfort factor and being able to click in this offense the way that we really see him being able to do that now. It's only June, so we'll have a lot more time to watch this evolve. All right, still 2 more days left of Bears minicamp here at Halas Hall. We will be back on Wednesday and Thursday. In the meantime, stay tuned to ChicagoTribune.com for your updates. For Dan Wiederer, I'm Rich Campbell, and we'll see you next time.